On this episode, we're talking travel with Jack Baumann with Guidester.
Hey everyone.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Bob Wahl Show. On the Bob Wahl Show we talk business, St. Louis, and real estate.
Hello St. Louis, welcome to the Bob Wahl Show. I'm excited today because we have a really good episode lined up. We have Jack Baumann, that's how you pronounce it, right?
Jack Baumann.
With Guidester, and you have a really cool company. We got in contact a few weeks ago. We met, you talked about it. I think it's an outstanding option for anyone traveling to know about.
Thank you.
I guess we'll start out having you tell a little bit about yourself and your company, Guidester.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on the show, Bob.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. So it kind of all started with me living in Europe for 2 years. I was getting my master's in archaeology, Roman and Greek archaeology, if you can believe it. So
okay.
I had this dream. I wanted to be Indiana Jones. So I got the fedora. Actually, I had my birthday last week, so I finally got the fedora. I got the whip. I got the degree. So all I need now is the adventures. So I was living in Europe for 2 years, and I was getting my master's. And while I was doing it, I was traveling everywhere. I was going to Italy and France and Munich for Oktoberfest, Dublin for St. Patrick's Day. I was there during the Olympics in London. Actually got to meet Prince Charles, which was pretty awesome.
That is pretty
Very
cool.
charming gentleman.
Yeah.
And I did all this by myself using the resources that are available to everybody.
Right.
Buying books, getting online, talking to friends and family. And kind of what I discovered was it's really overwhelming and frustrating to do all the destination research on where you're going to visit. If you're going to go to Rome, even for a few days, you have an avalanche of material that you have to sort through to figure out what you want to do. Because I'm actually not a huge foodie. I'm more a history and kind of local culture guy.
Okay.
So when I go to Italy, I don't really care about the dining and the and the wine and stuff. I want the history. I want the off the beaten path, cool little places, underground, little bars and stuff.
Right.
So what I kind of discovered during my travels is there's not a personalized company or a personalized service that gives the individual the material they need to be fully prepared for their travels and give them the information to maximize their time on the ground. If you've traveled internationally, you're carrying around a stack of guidebooks and pamphlets and leaflets and your own notes and all this stuff.
Right.
It's cumbersome, and what ends up happening is you end up missing a lot because you might have taken that note somewhere along the line, but you don't know where it is in relation to where you're at now.
Okay.
Right? Because every guidebook says the same thing to everybody else.
Right.
So I finished my master's and then came back in 2015. Actually, I came back in 2013, worked for 2 years, and then started the business in 2015. And I created the business to really fill that void in the travel market.
Okay.
The travel market's totally centered around getting people there, doing the booking, doing the tours. There's not a company that focuses on the experience when you arrive.
So in a nutshell, what your company does is you help people who are traveling individually or in a small group on their own and plan on doing the bookings, that sort of thing on their own, and you help provide them information and plan their trip and give them an actual customized itinerary. That way they're more prepared once they go on their vacation.
The way to think about it is once your flights and hotels are booked, which we can accommodate that as well.
Right.
We can't help travelers get there.
Right.
But the real challenge is figuring out what to see and do when you're there. So
Okay.
we do all the research on behalf of the
I
client.
see. Okay.
And we actually create these books. I showed you the kind of
Correct.
custom travel guides.
Correct.
It also downloads to your phone. So you show up in Rome, you know exactly what to see and do, what times things open, how much they cost, where to eat, where to shop, the whole kit and caboodle.
Okay. It's a really cool option. I've traveled to Europe in the past. One was a group and everything was predetermined for us, which is fine. The other one went to Europe with my wife for our honeymoon, went to Ireland. We were fortunate enough to have a friend that had lived in London and spent a lot of time in Ireland. So she basically did exactly what you do.
Right.
But that would be, I can see how that would be an awesome option for anyone else doing it. Like she outlined everything. We just didn't have the formal book.
Have the formal book. Well, but it's also what to see and do, and this is kind of what I discovered as well. Traveling is more than the seeing of sights.
Right.
And this is what books are very bad at doing. It's what's the local culture like, and what's a digestible overview. So when I go to Rome, do I really need a book of the history of Rome?
Right.
Probably not, but I need maybe a page, a paragraph, a couple paragraphs on the background. So that's also handy as well, is when you're going into London, you get a background of London as a city, as it grew, the history, and then culturally, what is London? London's made up of 42 boroughs, started with the city of London, grew out from there. So you understand, because London is not a New York or Chicago. It's fundamentally different because it's made up of small boroughs that came together to make greater London.
I'll have you talk about the book specifically.
Okay.
And what comes in it, because that's the meat of what you do.
That's the meat.
So we'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'll just have you kind of just
So
guide us through it.
So basically, what you get a print and you get a digital copy, and what this does, I don't know how well we'll be able to see this on the camera, but it goes through your entire trip. So this client is going to Andalusia, and we highlight all the places they're going to go, and we give them the information based on the amount of time they're going to be there. So if you're in a place one day, do you need 50 things? You don't.
No.
You need, and
it's too much.
The key to this is clients fill out a vacation profile, and we pinpoint where they're going and their dates of travel, but then what they want to see and do. So, hiking, biking, wine tasting, they check boxes.
Right.
We pinpoint what they want to see and do, and we put their itinerary in there, but then we give them, for each place they go to, we lay it out in such a way to where, here, I'll get a good page here where you can kind of see how the attractions are laid out. So the attractions are kind of laid out in such a way where it's, name, picture, description, opening times, prices, locations.
Okay.
So you can show up in a place. Same with the dining. We do the same with the dining, and you indicate in that vacation profile, I'm local cuisine, I'm gluten-free. I had a client going to England who's gluten-free, which is not easy to find. Everything's made of bread, right?
Right.
So dining, nightlife, shopping, and then so everything from the shopping, the nightlife, and then your custom maps. And this is a really cool part. So all your points are labeled on these custom maps. So when you're in that city, you're like, oh, okay, so I just did the the Pantheon, and I'm a little hungry. I'd like some gelato. What's near me? Oh, 2 blocks north is Giolitti, the best gelato in Rome. Right. So you've got your maps, all the things to see and do, and then you've got your cultural guide, which is, everything from basic information, currency stuff, cultural tips, getting around, safety information. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for your entire trip.
Okay.
The key here is it's built in real time according to your personal interests using credible resources. We leverage local tourism boards to get the information from the ground, right? So we don't get on TripAdvisor, get on Yelp, we don't Google what to see and do in Granada. We actually leverage the local tourism boards, and they love us because we don't play favorites.
Right.
That's a big problem with tour companies is
I get that.
They're pushing you to certain areas because there's a commission to be made. I charge a flat fee, so my there's no bias. My customer is always the traveler.
It's not just going to this tourist trap or this
is why it happens.
This company who's incentivized this restaurant that,
and anybody that knows the
gives
travel
kickbacks
market
or whatever.
Understands that is the fundamental lacking, and it has been that way. I mean, really forever.
And, yeah.
There's a piece of the pie, whether it's flights, hotels, tours, wine tastings. To get a piece of that pie, you have to charge commission.
Okay.
And so when hotel chains or restaurants or attractions, landmarks, whatever it is, they want a piece of that pie for that traveler to come.
Right.
That's when they go to the tour company and say, hey, I'll give you whatever money. So then now they're only going to give the traveler that information. But there could be 10 other cool things right around the area. And maybe it's a mom and pop place that can't afford to be on the big radar. And that's really what motivated me was I want to give people that level of detail that they're just not going to get online.
This is kind of a flat fee travel service.
That's exactly what it is.
You're kind of a flat fee travel agency. It's kind of the way to view it.
You could say that, but here's the fundamental difference. Travel agents, and there's great ones, don't get me wrong, travel agents cannot do this. They're not set up to do this.
Right.
They only do the booking. They do the flights, hotels, and that's where they make their money. They make their money on commission. So they do the flights, the hotels, and they'll probably do some tours and stuff like that.
Right.
But other than that, like, hey, what time should I go to the Coliseum, or what all the things I should see and do? Because they can't do that.
Clients can control their own hotels and flights and all that.
Yeah.
So it gives people more control of the costs that they're spending.
Yeah.
As far as this airline, this hotel, what you're doing is the focus is more what they're going to do when they get there.
That's exactly right. And I think what the need is. So travel agents really have a purpose because it's daunting packaging stuff together. And should I fly into Paris or should I fly into London to go the rest of Europe? All those little things. That's the booking side. That is a very useful, valuable service to get them there.
Right.
But where travel agents are lacking is they're not set up to give them this level of detail.
Okay.
Now, some of them have access to like destination guides. Generic guides that are just written and just given out don't come close to the level of detail that you really need to have the experience that you want to have. So every guide's different. So again, just to reiterate, when I go to London, I'm a 30-year-old single guy, right? When I go to London, my guide is going to look fully different than a 60-year-old couple's 30th anniversary.
Right.
But if you pick up a Europe, Lonely Planet, Europe on a Shoestring, Rick Steves, the generic guides, it says the same thing to you as it says to me. That's a problem.
No,
there's not a personalized experience there.
I get that. I could see how it'd be good for travel agents to partner with you.
They do.
Is that
they do.
Okay.
And we actually pay commission. So travel agent books it and says, "Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Would you like this custom resource to maximize your time on the ground?"
I see.
And then we pay a commission. So there is a natural synergy there.
I just caught that side of it as well. But yeah, I could see that being a good added value or benefit to provide clients.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Well, it's I could talk to you for a lot longer, but my coffee's all the way over there. And
do you want me to grab it for you?
Okay. No, we're fine. But no, really cool business. Thanks a lot for coming on and promoting it. As far as your cost goes, I do want to mention that.
Yeah, it's just a flat fee of $250.
$250.
Anywhere in the world up to 3 weeks.
Okay.
If it's over 3 weeks, we'll have some special pricing.
And how can people find your website? Actually shows the book in a lot more detail.
Yes.
I noticed after we talked. So
you can
how can people find you on social media, and how can they find you on online?
Sure. So Facebook, it's Guidester. Facebook / Guidester.
Okay.
It is Twitter, Guidester Travel on Twitter, and then our website is guidester.com. So it's just GUIDESTER, guide plus stir.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
Really good information.
Yeah,
So
really appreciate you having me on.
that concludes this week's episode of the Bob Wahl Show. Thank you for joining us. I will see you guys next week, and goodbye for now.
Arrivederci.